This is a Prezi to represent some ideas of my ideal classroom someday. So we'll get started here. The first section is the physical arrangement. And basically the goals here are to have the arrangement conducive for collaboration and learning, very child-focused because it's all about the kids, and just to have a really good flow and organization, just a good feel when you walk in the classroom. So here, as I'll explain next, my first color scheme goal is to kind of focus on more greens and blues and cooler colors. Because I did find some research that said more, loud, extreme colors like red and orange can actually make children feel unsettled, while colors like blue and green can help them feel calm. And I think that we can even feel that ourselves, that those cool colors can actually have a little bit of a difference in the learning environment for children. And also, not to have too many dark colors that will take away from just the natural light that you're given, hopefully, in your classroom someday. And this research also said that soft textures should be incorporated, like plush chairs, rugs, pillows, even having some kind of home-like furniture that just adds to the classroom to make it feel more at home and cozy for the children. So I had a couple extra pictures. One just kind of goes back to maybe the more green, blue colors, adding some soft textures. And I thought that picture was just very cozy. And this picture may be a little bit more realistic of a classroom day, but I like that it has kind of that color scheme, and then just showing that you can still incorporate some more home-like furniture into the classroom, kind of no matter what grade you're teaching. Here, then to the student areas for the physical arrangement, I personally really like the idea of having tables that gives opportunity for group learning and really collaborating with the students. And I think it gives a really easy flow, so the teacher can kind of walk in between these tables and visit groups at a time, versus maybe having a little bit of a crowded layout if you have traditional desks. I also really want to teach kindergarten, so I think that the tables are really good for those kiddos too, because they're busy, so they're moving around a lot, and they're going to be social, so I think that the table setting is great for them. And then I also really like the idea of having these tubs or bins at the center of each table where they can share their supplies, and just kind of keep that rack full of the necessities like glue, scissors, pencils, things like that. And then the next would be the teacher areas, so where I would be hanging out. I definitely will consider where the desk area is. I think that's a big part of your classroom layout, and you want that to be in a strategic place so that it's convenient for where you will be doing a lot of your teaching if you're moving around a lot. I hope that I don't feel like I'm constantly having to run to the opposite end of the room to get something. I want to be able to see the door and just see all of my students at once. Obviously, organization is important, and I think that it's kind of a spot for the teacher to express herself a little bit and just have her cozy space. So I like this picture on top just because that pegboard idea is really smart for organization purposes, and same with the crates on the bottom, just for sticking in those quick go-to things. This picture here, I really like that L-shaped layout in the corner of the room. I feel like this teacher has a lot of storage with the file cabinets in the back, and then this shelf off the edge too. And then I think that just her desk space would be very well utilized. And then this one here I really liked because I hope to have kind of this kidney-shaped table or bean table for guided reading and guided math and things like that. And I like that she can kind of move her swivel chair between the table and her desk. I think that's a really smart layout, so I will keep that in mind for someday also. The next section will be specialized areas. This section will focus on learning extension areas, student material storage, instructional material storage, and some behavior management tools. And I found this graphic when I was browsing on Pinterest of just the learning zones to kind of keep in mind when you're setting up your classroom someday. And I thought that was a really great piece of information, things that you can just kind of make sure you have maybe touching on each of those, because that makes the classroom very conducive for all the needs and learning tools that you want someday. So for the learning extension areas, the two that I kind of picked out, I love just making sure you have a mini lesson zone. Again, I'm definitely hoping to teach the younger grades. So I think just having a spot where the teacher can sit with the easel and the carpet, you can just really focus on kind of drawing things out for the kids and what your mini lesson will be for the day. And then I definitely want to have a writing center. I know that the kiddos will be just kind of starting to become writers. And I love the idea of just having a spot where there's all these writing supplies ready for them and examples of what good writing looks like. And I couldn't find a very good picture of this, but I hope to have maybe like a mailbox in the writing center someday where the children can write me letters and I can write them letters back, and just kind of have that unique communication between them, and they can also practice writing. But there are numerous learning extension areas too that I know I'll implement just depending on the grade level I'm teaching and the needs of my students. The next section is student material storage. Again, I just pulled a few ideas from Pinterest that I loved. I like having this seat sack on the back of their chair so they can keep quick go-to things like their books or notebooks or things like that. They'll be kind of grabbing very frequently throughout the day. And then this storage area for just those materials that would be using frequently. I know you could name it, anything could be there, but I just like how clean and organized that is. I hope to be like that. I know I hope to have kind of bins on the tables for the students, but then anything else that's not in those bins, I'd like to give them kind of space to put everything else. So like their markers and things that are maybe more theirs that they're not wanting to share with their whole entire group, that can kind of be in their cubby area, obviously labeled for each student. And then I thought this was fun too, depending on, again, kind of grade level and where you're at, but you could take a picture of each of the kiddos reading and then label their book folder so that any books that they're working on, that will be the go-to spot for them. And I thought that idea was awesome too. So next, instructional materials storage. And I love, again, I know I mentioned I hope to have one of these guided reading tables. And I love that a lot of those instructional materials in these two pictures are right behind the teacher, because I feel like, again, I don't want to be feeling like I have to run around the whole classroom to get what I need. And both of these shelving and some file cabinets just make it really nice and clean looking and very easy to organize. And then I've seen these little carts that are actually on wheels. I think the wheels got cut off of this picture, but I like how this teacher just organized her drawers based on what she needs. And I feel like it's really easy to plan out your week that way. And then again, just kind of those go-to items that you'll be using frequently can be very handy. So I love that. So then moving on to some behavior management tools, just with a little bit of experience I've had in classrooms, I've seen a lot of these dojo rewards. And so I would definitely kind of implement a reward system for that. I know I just pulled like a chart, but you could do any kind of coupons or, just basically, the more dojos the kids earn, maybe that week they can cash those in for a little prize, and then that's very good for them behavior management wise, because they can also lose those dojos during the week if they're misbehaving. So I think that strategy is good. I've seen these before too, where you kind of have all the kids start with their clip at this neutral position, and then if they're making really good choices throughout the day, their clip moves up the line, and if they're not making good choices, the clip moves down the line. So I think it helps those kiddos to really see where they're at. I love this VIP table. I think that could be introduced to with dojo. If they earn maybe, let's say, 50 dojo points for the week, they can have the afternoon at the VIP table or desk and have maybe a comfy chair and some fun, like glitter pens or whatever they kiddos think would be fun. You could implement that. And then obviously I'd like to have some classroom jobs. I think that's a very good behavior management tool. It makes all the kids feel like they're part of the team, that they have a job and a responsibility. And then maybe kind of having a whole class incentive to like a beat the teacher or some kind of reward that the whole class can work towards. So then we'll be moving on to, there we go. Yeah, just exercises. the goal for these then would just provide some opportunities for technology integration and just maybe the extra needs of students at different stages. So this picture is kind of with the technology, having a tool that monitors the noise level in the classroom, I think would be very important. That could maybe even go with the behavior management, but it's technology based, which is awesome. So I think any grade level, even if I'm teaching kindergarten or first grade or a younger grade, I'd love to have the iPad station. And I like that this picture here has this iPad. I can't really see that word, but I would think of it as kind of like the rules or contracts. So all the kids are on the same page with the expectation of the iPads. You have them sign their contracts, and if they ever have any questions or if you have a concern with a student not using the iPad correctly, you can go back to that contract. And then just, obviously having a good charging station and things like that. I'm hoping to have some sort of smart technology at the front of my room, whether it be a smart projector with the iPad capabilities or a smart board, just depending on what classroom I'm in, but lots of opportunities for learning with that. And then just, again, with those iPads, I know in my experience that it's really hard to keep track of kids' login. So I would hope to make these little login loops on rings for the kid logins to all these different kind of applications we use or websites, and maybe their AR login or whatever it might be, can just all be in one place, which would be very helpful. And then just other educational tools, I just threw in maybe some kind of flexible seating. I know if you have those fidgety kids, that can kind of be, an opportunity for them to get their wiggles out. Obviously, it can be a privilege that could be taken away, but I know it can help sometimes if they have like a little wiggle chair to sit on or a band to play with their feet. I'm hoping that, in those younger grades, if I am kindergarten, to have some dramatic play areas, because I know that is a huge way that those little ones learn, is just through pretend, imagination, make-believe with these kind of adult-like scenarios. So I thought this little post office dramatic play center was cute, but there's tons of examples that you could implement for that. And then I really like having the idea of either sit spots on the floor or a rug where you can assign the kids a spot to sit on the ground, so that when you do maybe those mini lessons or read aloud anytime that you're on the carpet, they have an expectation of where they should be sitting to minimize the kids making bad decisions. So that pretty much wraps up my ideal classroom. There's tons of ideas that I've seen, and I know it's going to be hard to put it all together, but I'm very excited to see what I'll be able to do with my classroom someday. So thank you so much for watching.